G'day folks, in this video I'm going to show you how to solve the Mixup Plus 4x4x4. I'm going to go fairly quickly through this puzzle. It combines some of the techniques from all the other Mixup Pluses, and it's actually probably easier than some of the others. So the first thing I'm going to do, returning to cube shape, is get any of these edges here which are oriented incorrectly, edges in an edge position, not oriented correctly. I'm going to make them orient correctly. So to do that, I'm turning them into this position, and I'm going to turn the face one turn and then turn it back. The only thing to watch for is sometimes it creates wrongly oriented edges, so we just want to be aware of that as we do it. Same sort of thing here. Let's see what happens. I'll turn that in. That one looks okay. This one, not too happy with that, because as I turn that, it's going to create a wrongly oriented edge. So let's replace it with perhaps that center and see if that is better. Yep, I'm much happier with that. Okay, there's another one here, and I think that one down the bottom will be okay. It will, because it's gone into the center position, and that's fine. So I reckon that's all of the ones that are in the edge position wrongly oriented. Okay, so the next step, oh no, there's one there. Let's just deal with that one. Nearly didn't see it. You can see that's an issue, so I'm going to just turn that back and replace that with something else. That's not good. That's not good. This one will be fine. Double center there. That's fine. I reckon that all looks good. Okay. Alright, now I'm going to look for any edges in the center position, and firstly the double edges. I'm going to replace them with centers that are in an edge position. So I'll turn that off and then do an edge piece series to bring this down, down, up, up, and then turn it back 45 degrees. And what I've done is the center that was there is now here, and the edge that was here, which I turned into there, is now up there somewhere. So that's done that. So I'll do that with any doubles first, and looks like I don't have any more doubles. So now, instead of doing it with the doubles, I'm going to do it with singles, and I don't need to use the same kind of technique. What I'm looking for here is to line up so that I can freely turn a layer, and so you can see here I can now turn that, and I'm just going to turn centers to bring some of these things together to create these double centers. So I've created a double center there, just uncreated it, there it is, and I'm now going to replace that with this center just like I did before. Turn it back. Let's do the same thing again. There's a couple here that can be made. Now if I don't have a double center somewhere, I will just replace it with a single. For example, I've got to replace that with something. I'll replace it with this piece here, which is sort of a split part. That'll be better than nothing. And turn it back. How are we going? We've got one here and one here, so we'll put them the same axis so they're turnable, bring them together, and what can we replace them with? You can actually replace them with that one again. And turn that back 45 degrees. Now, you'll see that leaves me with a single edge in the center position. That means there will be a single edge in an edge position, and I've just got to find it. There it is. So I want to have these on the same axis, and what I want to do to deal with that now is turn that center part, the center edge, along to the edge position where the other one was. And now that it's there, I'm going to flip this little part. I'm going to take it out onto the top face and then return it flipped by turning its position up, putting it onto its position, and putting it down. Now when I undo those moves, and for completeness I'll do the other move as well, you'll see that there are no more single edges in the center positions, and so all of these edges are now in their correct positions. I've also got all center pieces sitting there as well, So what I might do next is flatten these edges, and I'm going to place them and flatten them at the same time. Before I do that, I'm going to have to reduce the centers and then reduce these little edge parts. So to reduce the centers, it's just like you would do on I guess a 4x4 puzzle, where you have these 4 little center parts here. And as an example, I'm going to go and put those 2 whites together and turn them off, get another 2 whites together like that, and do that. Now I'm not going to go through all of this, because if you don't know how to solve a 4x4, you probably shouldn't be attempting this, but I'm going to continue that until all the centers are reduced. And all of those centers are reduced now, and they're also placed in the correct position. They're probably going to come out of position, but we'll put them back later on. The next thing is to get these little edges matched up together. So I want a green red with a green red. It's also fairly simple and done the same sort of way. So I want to bring that over to there. Yep, the centers get moved out. Got the 2 green reds, and I now want to replace it with a piece like this that is not yet done. So I'll just do that. When I return the centers, what I'll see is those green reds are done. It also happens to have done the yellow reds. I'll take that, and I'll keep going until they're all done as well. Alright, and all of these edges are now attached together. So now we need to attach these little pieces here and flatten them at the same time. So as an example of what we're going to do, I'm going to find a piece on the lower layer here. So that little white piece that's sticking out, I want to attach that to a white central part of the edge. So I'm going to find a white central part of the edge like that one, and I'm going to put it there on the front. And to attach that, I'm simply going to carry out a corner piece series for cuboids. So I want these 2 at the front on the lower layer, and there's going to be a piece on the back on the upper layer that's going to come down here and place there. So I'd like that to be a red piece if I can. So around here, I'm going to try and find a red flat piece. If I can't, I'll just stick with what I've got, which is a blue at the moment. That'll do. So all I'm going to do is an upper turn, which is really a 45 degree of that upper layer, and then right 2, 45 degrees back, and then left 2. And I'm going to repeat that. Now what you'll see, having done that, that blue piece is here, that used to be up the back. The white piece has gone across to there and placed, and the piece that was here has gone to the upper back position there. So the general technique is to just find a piece here on the lower layer, that orange piece that needs to go next to an orange Rubik's Cube edge like this one, and then try and find these 2 pieces on the front. If they are raised, they will flatten. If they are flat, they will raise. The piece on the back, if it's flat, it'll stay flat. So we're looking for a green piece that's flat to come and place here at the same time. Let's see what we've got. Obviously a green piece that's out of position. Doesn't look like I have any. Oh, I've got that one, but it's on the same edge as this, so that's no good. So just anything here that is not yet positioned, that little blue piece will do just fine. And we'll go ahead and place them. And that's all it is. It's pretty straightforward. We'll just keep doing that until we get down to the last 2 or 3, and I'll cut back in then. Well, we're down to the last few here, and I've got a bit of an interesting case. I've got a couple here, and I've got this piece which has 2, in fact 3 on it, which need doing, plus this one here. So that's my last 4 pieces. Everything else is done. So I'm going to place this yellow over to here, and that's definitely going to get that one done. I'm going to end up with a couple here which I'm going to have to deal with. So I'm also then going to try and get a flat orange piece like this one and put that on the back, and what that's going to do is an orange piece will come to there, and this orange piece will also go to there, so it'll take care of that at the same time. And what we'll see is the only 2 left are on this piece. So To deal with them, what I'm going to do is involve one piece at the back that's going to go and place that red. So that obviously must be a red piece. That flat red piece is going to come here and place that. Then I'm going to just transfer this to some other piece like this one here. And what that'll do is when we're done, you can see there's the red. We've got 1, 2, 3 left, and those 3 are what we can now match up. So the green's got to go to there. We're looking for a flat red piece, which is this one. So we'll put that into the correct position here, like that. And you'll notice that the other raised yellow piece is now going to go back to that position there. So that'll finalise these pieces. Okay, and that leads to all of our split edges being reduced, and we can now go ahead and solve this thing as we would a 3x3. A couple of interesting cases coming up, so I'm not going to do the whole 3x3 solve, but I will cut back in when those cases arise, and I'm just doing an edges first method, so I'm going to go and carry that out. And here's the first case. We've got all the edges in position, but the last one is inverted, it's flipped. So the way we're going to deal with that is to hold the cube any old way and turn one of the faces, or one of the half of the cube, one turn, just like that. And now what we've got to do is resolve our centers and resolve our edges using an even number of turns. So I think, in fact, I'm used to turning it this way, so I'm going to turn it that way, and I think what's got to go where? The orange has got to come back to that face. So I'm going to use this orange to push that orange out, turn the face, and return it, and that completes that center. Do the same thing with the blue. And finally the same thing with the red. That of course will take care of the green as well. Now I've got these pieces here that I need to solve. I've got that one already done, so I've got these 3 that I need to take care of. So I'll do the green, orange, bring them together like I was doing before, and then if I think what's coming back, I've got a red green coming back here, so I want the red green to be on the top. So I'll make sure that when I put that in, the red green part is on the top, and it is. Turn that back, the centers are done, and all the edges are resolved. I can once again go and place my edges. And when I've done that, this time I will find that I have a nice little 3 cycle. And so I can cycle those things home, and even better, all of the edges will be correctly oriented. You remember we started with a flipped edge. And now I move on to the corners and start solving them. Again, I'm going to use the corner piece series. I'll just carry out one of them to show you, and we'll roll this white, blue, orange down to there. I'm going to do the rest of them, get down to the last 2 or 3. And of course we can also get on this puzzle 2 swapped corners. Everything else is solved. This has to go here, this has to go here. They could be anywhere on the cube of course, but this is where they've ended up here. And so to deal with that, I'm going to do the same as I would do on a 4x4 cube. I'm going to hold the puzzle like this and turn the top half 2 turns, and take out this edge and return it flipped. So take it out onto the upper face and return it flipped by moving its position up, putting it on, putting it back down. That being done, I'm going to turn it around 2 turns and do the same to the corresponding coloured edge over here. And then return my top half of the cube. That returns all the centres. It flips a couple of edges on the top, and what it most importantly does is create a swap of 2 edges, and that swap of 2 edges will go with the swap of corners I had. And now when I go and resolve the edges, what I'll find is that all the corners will be in 3 cycles. So I'll just go ahead and do that now. And indeed I come back and I see 1, 2, 3 that need to cycle, so I'll just set up for that last corner piece series. Here we go, travelling around this way. All done, and we can undo the setups. And that covers absolutely everything you'll find in this puzzle, and as you can see, the 4x4x4 Mixup Plus is solved.